Welcome to Tearing Off, a side series I make since animation takes time and I gotta fill the gaps somehow. And you read that right, folks. I'm quite late to this information, but Sonic Unleashed finally has a PC port. Well, it took them 17 years, and by them I mean the fans, and by 17 years, I mean 17 years. I was just scrolling through social media one day and stumbled on someone talking about it. I was skeptical at first, but after looking around for a little while, I found out that this was the real deal. Now, full disclosure, this isn't a new version of Sonic Unleashed built from the ground up or anything like that. This is a recompilation, which, from what I gather, is taking the game's code and retooling it to run on a machine that it wasn't designed to run on. Admittedly, I'm not the best person to explain how a recompilation works, but that's about what I could gather from it. I'd highly recommend Matt Lego Island Guy KC's video on it. He explained things pretty well. Either or, this is less of a mobile ports of classic Sonic games and more of a Sonic 3 Angel Island Revisited situation we have on our hands. Basically, you're going to need the original Xbox 360 version's files to get the recompilation up and running. How you get those files is by ripping the ISO and such from an original copy of the Xbox 360 version of the game. Take note that it's the Xbox 360 version and not the PlayStation 3 version. That version of the game won't work for this recompilation. Of course, there are more dubious ways of getting the files needed, but I'll let you decide if that's what you're willing to do. In any case, our colorful corporate overlord known as Google Alphabet is currently your best friend if you need knowledge on how to get access to these files. Just make sure you don't mistake him for your real best friend in the process. Once you get all the files, it's pretty much just a digital plug and play after the setup's all finished. As with the recompilation itself, it adds in quite a few quality of life features. I feel like the one most people enjoyed is getting rid of the werehog jazz. If you know, you know. Of course, there's also the obvious performance boost. Let me tell you, it's real nice to see this game running silky smooth after seeing how bad the original could chug along, especially the PlayStation 3 version. I suppose that's just the price they paid for making one of the best looking Sonic games for its time, though. You have other options too, different day and night transitions, different button glyphs for my fellow station heads, ultra-wide support, and you can even push the frame rate past 60 if you want. It's all really well done, and I can't thank the Unleashed Recompiled team enough for finally bringing this game to PC. And that's all without even talking about mod support. Now, I'm not too big on mods myself. I tend to try to stick to the vanilla experience when it comes to the games I play. Doubly so if I were to ever look at games specifically for this channel. However, this game does have mod support, and the one I remember specifically is some Touhou fan getting the entirety of Bad Apple running on the Miles Electric display that pops up on level loading screens. Again, I haven't experienced the modding scene for Unleashed just yet, but I'm sure you modding types are going nuts right about now. So far, my personal vanilla experience has been amazing. I only experienced one real crash and maybe dropped inputs, but that didn't stop me from getting stuck trying to get an S rank on Dragon Road. I have no doubts that even if Sega were to release an official Unleashed PC port, this is going to be the definitive way to experience Sonic Unleashed from here on out. Even then, Sega making a PC port for Unleashed, you're better off waiting for Oddity or Silksong to release or some shit. Not much else for me to say about the recompilation. I can't imagine what the team had to go through in order to get this up and running. The last I heard, recompilations for Nintendo 64 games were still a nightmare. So to see this team just drop this out of nowhere, a game that was 2 whole console generations after the Nintendo 64, is absolutely insane. At least from my perspective. And again, if any of the Unleashed Recompiled team members are watching, I can't thank you all enough. You guys have done some phenomenal work, and I'm sure the majority of the Sonic community would agree with me. The link to the recompilation itself is going to be in the description of the video. I strongly urge you to try it out when you all can. So far, I've had a blast playing through Unleashed for what may as well be the first time. And from what I can tell, this recomp should be able to run on most modern computers. Shit, the team's even gotten it to run on Linux. Can't speak for that version so far since I'm a Windows user, but I'd like to hear about how well it runs for future reference if anybody's gotten it up and running there. And if you're feeling particularly adventurous, you could even get this thing on the Steam Deck and take it wherever you go. It's just dawned on me that by making this video, I'm never going to beat the Sonic Tuber allegations, am I? Oh well, do the YouTube shit.